So I took a week off from plunging. Not really intentionally, not fully intentionally. I didn't plan on taking a full week. I plan on taking a couple of days, just to kind of see because I know the benefits. Obviously, I've talked about them. I do the research on the Wellness Wednesday videos, or at least my research team does, and then I read back the research, which I do appreciate them. Um, but just for fun, I went ahead and took time off to see if there was in fact a placebo effect going on or if there was some actual truth to what was happening in my own body. Now, does this prove anything? Not necessarily, because maybe the placebo effect I stopped believing in, or I believe in it so much that when I stopped, things happened. But I don't think so because what I found was that the nerve damage didn't return. Well, I mean, the nerve damage always there, but the nerve pain didn't return. I didn't have a nerve damage flare up. Now, part of this is because I have been better about eating anti-inflammatory foods and working out a lot more, both of which do tend to bring down the nerve damage flares in general. But before, I don't think I could have gone a whole week without ice baths and not had a flare up or at least some kind of irritation going on. So that was really cool. I was really excited about that. What I didn't account for and what I didn't plan on and what surprised me though was I had absolutely no energy. Um in a way that went beyond nutrition and exercise. So if you've ever worked out really hard, you know how it feels when your glycogen is completely depleted from your muscles, right? And you're just tired, and even lifting your arm feels bad, and like walking feels like a chore, like you're just sludging through sand because your muscles have absolutely nothing left to give. That's how I felt. And usually when I feel that way, it's because I haven't eaten enough protein, but I've been tracking my food, so I know I was getting enough protein. My sleep schedule was disrupted though. I was falling asleep earlier. I was not getting out of bed on time. I was getting too much sleep essentially. And just throughout the day, I just felt terrible. Needed more energy drinks to get through the day. Was trying to eat more like sugary fruits and vegetables just to give me that extra little natural bump. And I just didn't have it. The first day that I got back to ice baths, I instantly had more energy. I fell asleep at the right time. I got up at the right time. I got my 6 hours of sleep, no more, no less. I felt amazing. My muscles felt like the glycogen was back, even though it was never a glycogen problem. I was able to work out really hard again. I was able to do all the things that I wanted to. And all of this stemmed from I wasn't doing ice baths and I wasn't doing cold showers. Now, there are times when you don't have access to an ice bath that cold showers will supplement and be beneficial. I wasn't doing those either. I completely disconnected from cold therapy without even really realizing it. The reason I know how long it was because I had my journal. And so that journal entry was very long and very interesting to look at. And the journal entry prior from for the week before that, I didn't put in it that I was going to take time off. I don't think I really planned it out as in the way that I had originally thought I had. But it was a really interesting perspective of, it's really not a placebo effect. It's really beneficial. And I think that's something that a lot of people want us to believe right now is that cold therapy is all hype and it's all placebo and it's what you want to believe and it's actually really bad for you and all this other stuff. But the reality of it is because it's so individualized, yes, there are some people that cold therapy absolutely will not benefit, whether it's because they don't want to face their mental and emotional demons yet and the cold therapy is forcing their body to release the built up trauma and they're not ready for that, or if they have medical conditions that absolutely will not let them, uh, especially if they have medical conditions that make it harder in colder water, right? So one of the girls that I coach, I've talked about it before, we've discovered that she cannot go below 36 degrees. It is detrimental to her recovery. If it's over 36 degrees, between like 36 and 40, she gets the benefit and she gets the full week of feeling great. If it's less than 36, it's too taxing on her body. If she doesn't actually get the recovery, it just makes it worse. So there's many factors that go into is cold therapy for you or not, right? And so often we get competitive because we're humans and it's human nature. And we like to scoff at people who are doing 60 degrees or 50 degrees or 40 degrees. But the reality is, if that's what works for you, that is fantastic because we are all different. We all have different goals. Our bodies process things differently. And that's what really matters. So, if you're having a hard time with cold therapy, maybe the water's too cold, right? Or if you're just dreading it because of how cold the water is, that's good from a mental growth perspective. But if it's a dread that's causing more anxiety than the cold water is curing, you should probably look at changing it up. Now, I understand a lot of people want to do the polar plunges. Like, there's something really, really cool about going out and breaking the ice off the lake and getting in. Like, I get it. It is on my bucket list of things to do because I don't really have access to that here in the desert. But I am relocating next year, and that is one of the things that I hope to be able to do where I relocate. But if it is, in fact, too much, you need to realize that and just do what is best for your body. And that doesn't mean you can't do it. Maybe that just means you wear a couple extra layers. Maybe that means, you break out the neoprene and instead of neoprene booties, maybe you do full neoprene boots. Or maybe you do like a neoprene half suit because you'll still get the cold exposure, but it won't be as bad. So there's many ways to go about it. There's many things to do. But again, it's all about what's going to be best for you. Now, does this mean that everybody who takes time off from cold plunging is going to suffer the way that I did? Probably not, because I do it daily and I tend to do longer sessions. But it is something to take into account. Like, if you did an ice bath and it felt amazing and now it's been 2 weeks and you're not quite feeling right, maybe try again. If you did it and you kind of think you felt the benefits, but you're not sure and it was too cold and you don't want to do it again, maybe try again with a couple degrees higher. But again, always be safe. Always make sure, unless you're doing a cold shower, if you're doing a pod or a plunge or anything like that, make sure there's somebody there with you just in case, and really start tracking it. I will link to our journal just in case. It makes it super easy for you. There's actually two versions now. There's the second version has a more extensive notes section. But even if you're just doing it on a notebook paper, track it, figure out what's best for you, because cold therapy can be really beneficial for a lot of people. Again, when done right, and if they're taking the time to figure out what works for them.